Today, I'm talking about effective networking. Networking is one of the ways that I started my business 9 years ago here in Atlanta, Georgia. I had just moved here from New York and I didn't have a sphere of influence. So I knew for myself, I needed to be able to meet new people and build my database. I realized quickly that real estate is a numbers game to a certain extent. So if I could get my face in front of enough people, I was bound to trip over someone looking to buy or sell. And that's why networking became so valuable. The great part about networking in Atlanta is there is so many events throughout Metro Atlanta. And there's events for different people, different opportunities, at different places and locations. And you could network every day if you try hard enough. Um, and I think that's what's so amazing. And it's about collaboration, it's about meeting new people, and it's about how can you come from contribution. So the first thing is, what type of networking events did I want to go to? First and foremost, I never went to a real estate networking event. I wasn't looking to meet real estate agents. I wasn't looking to meet people in the real estate industry. I wanted to meet everyone else because everyone has a need and a want for a place to live. So I knew that if I went to open networking events, business networking events, those kind of things, I could meet new people, add value to them, and hopefully be a resource for them when it comes to their real estate needs. Where I started looking for events is first on eventbrite.com. Let me share my screen. Okay. Eventbrite is a fabulous resource with all different kinds of events, concert shows, things like that going on. I just search networking and Atlanta, Georgia. Now, you do need to go through and vet some of these different events. But, I was looking for some kind of open business networking. They have events around, here's one, Networking Atlanta. This looks like something good. You can also go to events that interest you. If you are interested in books or running clubs or things like that, that could be an opportunity as well. Atlanta Networking Mixer. Here's another opportunity. Pop-up networking mixer at Citizens Market. Um, the Elite Exchange, a vibe-driven networking experience. I mean, I'm just looking quickly, and there's clearly a lot of opportunities here. The second place that I would look is Meetup. Meetup is a great way to look for opportunities of events with people that have similar interests. Now, this isn't networking directly. However, if you want to join like a running club or you want to be in a board game group or video games, whatever you're interested in can be a great way to create relationships and find people that will have real estate needs. And I think Meetup is an awesome opportunity for that because there's so many different uh, groups, events, clubs that they have on here. So, like it says, find your people, discover interests, and join inspiring events. So, I would definitely take a look on Meetup. And then the last place that I would go is on Facebook. So, Facebook has an events tab on the left hand side. And on Facebook as well, I would search for networking, coffee and networking. Musicians networking night, business brews morning networking. The cool part is they have networking opportunities at all different times of the day. Another place to check out is your Chamber of Commerce. I know Brookhaven Chamber of Commerce has an open networking event. Johns Creek Chamber of Commerce has open networking event. A lot of these chamber groups have networking events in their area. So that's another opportunity. And then The last and honestly the best place to find networking is at actual networking events. So, one of my questions when I go to a networking event is, what other events are you going to that I should be a part of, that I should attend? That's a great talking point to have at a networking event. So now that you've found an event, I think the big thing is you want to put it on your calendar so that you have a commitment. Some of these events will cost $10, maybe $20. So order your ticket, get it on your calendar, and then it ensures that you're going to go. I know for me, once I've paid for the event, if it's on my calendar, I'm not going to flake on it. However, if I wait to order my ticket maybe the day before or even the same day, then I might have got lazy and I've been like, oh, I don't really feel like going or doing that. So I think a great plan is to, you know, look at the end of the month before at what networking events you would like to go to in the following month and plan them on your calendar. Then you've got a plan of what you're going to, where they're going to be, how much they cost, all of that. When I was networking, I was doing 2 to 3 events a week. So I made this a very strategic activity of my lead generation because I wanted to get in front of as many people as possible. The thing that I learned very quickly was I started to meet other realtors, other realtors when I would go networking, right? A lot of these networking events are monthly, they're on a regular basis. So, first time I would go to the event, I would meet a realtor. Great, cool. There's a lot of us, not a problem. Then I'd go to the same event the next month. I'd meet another realtor. Then I'd go to the same event the next month, and then I'd meet a third realtor. But what I realized is none of those agents went consistently to the same event over and over. That taught me the importance of consistency in networking. I became consistent at these events and I became the friendly face. It also made it easier for me to network because every time I'd walk into an event, I would know 2 to 3 people. So it made it really simple to get started. It made it more comfortable for me. So it was a huge opportunity. Plus, never forget real estate is a relationship business and it takes a little time to build those relationships. So that consistency really paid off because I would see the same people over and over again. And that's when the business started to come from networking. Now, I know that networking can be overwhelming. And I fully understand that. And people don't believe this, but when I got here in Atlanta, I definitely was introverted. I still think I'm an introvert, but I have to push myself to be extroverted in order to be successful in this business for myself. Um, so the first time I went to an event, I brought a friend, I brought my husband, and we talked to a few people. I just needed to see it. I needed to have that, comfort. And then I was like, okay, we didn't talk to that many people, but I understand what an event's like and I can do this now. So, I ripped the band-aid off and I started going myself. I I feel like one thing to realize, and someone said this to me and it finally clicked, and it's so basic and it sounds so silly, but what is the point of a networking event? The point is to meet people that you don't know. And that really helped me understand that this isn't weird. I shouldn't feel awkward about it because the purpose of the event is for people that don't know each other to connect, to collaborate, to meet. And so I'm not going to the mall and going up to random people and trying to introduce myself. I'm not going to the grocery store and introducing myself. I'm going to an event that was designed and the sole purpose is for people that don't know each other to meet. And that really helped me. That basic concept really helped me feel comfortable about it. Also, when I walked into an event, what I would do is, many of them are at a bar or a restaurant or something like that. It always felt weird for me to not have something in my hand. So I would go get a drink, not always an alcoholic drink. And if you don't drink, that's not a problem. You can always get a soda or something like that. But I just felt better about getting something in my hand, having something. And then at the bar was an easy way to start conversations. While I'm waiting for the bartender, I could start a conversation with someone there. I could also scope out the room to see what's going on and figure out what my plan was. Usually, what I did was any, I looked for the person that felt just as uncomfortable as me. There is always someone that is by themselves. They're dying inside. They're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to talk to someone? Please, someone talk to me. And what I did was I looked for that person and I approached them. They were praying for someone to talk to them. So it was really easy to get into conversation because they were excited that I went up to them and had that and started a conversation. And I think that made it easier for me. What I realized is once I started talking to one person, it kind of flowed from there more easily. What do you talk about at a networking event? I feel that a lot of people open up with, what do you do for work? That's boring. That's boring. 90% of the people there are doing that. I don't think people should be defined by that. So I always like to start the conversation in a different way. What brings you out networking? Is this your first networking event that you've been to? Are you from Atlanta? What goals do you have for 2025 that you're trying to achieve? What is one thing that you're really excited about in the next coming month? Try to be more interesting than 90% of the people there. I promise you that whatever they do for a career will come up. It will come up organically over time. I just felt like that wasn't the first thing to lead with, especially as a real estate professional. I noticed that sometimes when people would ask, what do I do? It can cut the conversation short because they understand it. Oh, you're a real estate agent. You are looking at helping buyers, sellers, things like that. Um, that is why I wanted to be more interesting before getting to that point of the conversation. Remember, my other question is, what other networking events are you going to that I should be at? Also, a lot of what I talk about in coaching and in my business, and what I've learned from Keller Williams very early is you want to come from contribution. How can you add value to people? Information is valuable. So, my whole system and how I figured out a way to stay top of mind with people and to be consistent with networking is, and to get people's contact information, because that's another important piece. You know, you want to go to a networking event and you want to get other people's contact information. You should have a goal of getting at least 10 people's contact information. And how did I do that? I came from contribution. What was my item of value? Information. So I network regularly and I have a networking newsletter, one email a month. Would you like me to add you to it and send you the other networking events I'm going to? There was never a time someone said no. I never had one person be like, no, I'm not interested in other networking events. If they're there to network, they are interested. So that was my item of value. That's why they would all give me their contact information. And then it gave me a reason to follow up and stay top of mind. And so what I would do is the next day I would send an email. It was such a pleasure meeting you. These are some of the other networking events that I go to on a regular basis that are interesting to me. Hope to see you there. Then every month when I would plan my networking, I would go and figure out what events that I was planning to go to. I mean, I had to do that anyway. And then I would send an email to all my contacts that I met networking, being like, hey, these are the events that I'm going to this month. Hope to see you there. As simple as that. It kept me top of mind. It added value to these people that loved to hear about different events. And then it also had people that I had already met before coming to the events to make it simpler for me. Right? When I would get there, like I said, I knew 2 to 3 people. A lot of them would come because I was sending them the events that I was going to. And it made networking fun. It didn't feel like a lead generation activity. It felt like I was hanging out with friends. And the other amazing piece was I got to meet people that did really interesting things. I always say, you never know what you can do to make money. And people that I met were had interesting businesses, and really cool jobs. And I thought that was so fun and interesting. The last piece that I should talk about is other items of value. Another way that I've seen that you can add value to people that you meet networking is adding them to your monthly newsletter. I have another video coming on monthly newsletters, but you could use the people that you meet as a vendor business spotlight. Then you have another reason to follow up with those people. Hey, John, I'm doing a monthly newsletter to my database. I wanted to see if I could feature you in my newsletter, you and your business. Would you be interested in that? No one is going to say no to that. That is a huge opportunity. Now you're coming from contribution again. You're adding value to these people. I always get the question, but I don't know what to talk about. I know I touched on that, but I want to go deeper. One of my favorite questions when meeting new people is, are you from Atlanta? That can lead to a long conversation. As I was saying, one of my favorite questions is, are you from Atlanta? That can lead to a really long conversation. From my experience, a lot of people, myself included, are transplants. Also, it was unique for me when I was networking consistently. It was unique to meet people that grew up here. And what you can do with that conversation is if they are from Atlanta, oh, awesome, that's so cool. What area did you grow up in? Do you live there now? Where do you live now? Oh, do you enjoy that area? Oh, you're not interested. You don't like it there? Oh, so you're planning to move. Maybe I can help with that, right? Or the other way around. You're not from you're a transplant to Atlanta. Me too. How long have you been here? Where did you move from? What areas have you lived in? Are you enjoying where you live now? Oh, no? Well, maybe that's an opportunity that I can help you with. That's a great talking point. So I hope this helps you get an overview of what it's like to do open networking events. It's an opportunity to add value to people, and the law of reciprocity will bring business to you. But the key is consistency, staying top of mind, and coming from contribution.